Exercise physiologist PJ Glassy joins us now. He's the founder of xgym in Kirkland and a certified strength and conditioning specialist. PJ, you've worked with a lot of folks over the years. Give us your take on why people fail to go the distance.
Well, especially with New Year's resolutions, people just give up because they end up thinking it's going to be a lot easier than it really is. So they have unrealistic expectations, which is too bad. And then they don't meet those expectations. And so by the end of January, almost half have dropped out. And if you ask them, actually, the ones that answer honestly, it's more than half. But some of them are still hanging in there with their attitude. And they're like, yeah, well, not going to the gym anymore, but I'd still really like to do this. So they don't count themselves in the tap out group. But yeah, most people have given up and it's really sad.
We've heard time and time again about, people not turning those resolutions into habits. So what advice do you have for folks who have fallen off the bandwagon?
Yeah, the most important thing is to remember your why. It's helpful to start with a really good goal in the beginning and one that's achievable, but there's a reason behind why you set that goal and why you wanted to achieve the resolution that you came out with. And so it's helpful to write down your why. And hopefully those people still will remember the original why. And when you're making the resolution, it's a great idea to write down the why. But if you can come back to it and then really focus on why that's important, why your why, and then ask yourself why, and just keep asking why until you get the real answer. And that can often bring you back to that motivation that you originally had when you set that New Year's resolution and you were really motivated at that time.
Yeah, Columbia University says nearly half of all Americans make a resolution. And as you said earlier, the failure rates are quite high. Talk to us about the role that boredom can play in terms of failure.
People can get bored with trying, and it's usually harder than people expect. And they kind of get into the doldrums and the routine, and the have to go, it's more often than they thought, and it's more work than they thought, it's more time than they thought. And they just kind of get bored with it because of the repetition. So if they can mix it up a little bit by being more creative and doing cardio one day and then strength another day and a different routine this day, instead of going to the gym and doing the same thing every single time they go, which a lot of people fall into that trap. The brain needs variety. And when it doesn't get that, it will burn out really fast. And it doesn't take much time at all. And that's why so many people, one of the main reasons why so many people have dropped out by the end of January.
Yeah, even in my own workouts, I can't tell you how many times I've heard time under tension. Um, over at XGym, you guys integrate biohacking, neuroscience, and technology to help make resolutions stick. So tell us more about it and how these tools and information can be so beneficial.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of tools. We have our $10,000 scale that segments people into different areas of their body to show body fat and muscle, and we can see the changes, with the routines and progress that way. We have an AI chatbot that's new, where I have programmed in my entire book and hundreds of blog posts, so people can come and they can just type in their questions and they're like talking to me, and VO2 max testing and AI exercise bike, oxygenated water, lots of lab grade equipment that we have, which helps with the boredom part because there's lots of gizmos and gadgets to play with and things to do. But also, we're changing the routine constantly. So with the group training, it's every month, and with the personal training, it's every 14 workouts. So people get a lot of variety. The brain needs a lot of variety, and they can't get bored.
As we wrap things up, what's the last piece of advice you want to give folks watching at home?
Well, I kind of saved the best for last because people get discouraged and then they get down on themselves and they're like, what's wrong with me? Or someone else will say, oh, you just don't have enough willpower or whatever. It's not about that. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's just your brain wiring. And you don't understand how your brain is wired. That's why we have our own brain type test at XGym, braintype.me, and anybody can take it, doesn't have to be a member, but it helps people understand their brain and how they can better motivate themselves and how they can get habits formed easily, and tells them and reassures them that there's nothing wrong with me. I just think differently. My brain is wired differently. And this is a strategy now that I can go with to achieve what I want to achieve, because now I know my brain wiring and what makes sense to my brain, and everybody's different.
As the saying goes, knowledge is power. PJ Glassy with XGym. PJ, thanks for the conversation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.